Have you ever felt watched? A prickling sensation on the back of your neck, even when you're utterly alone. When the silence is so complete, it feels like something else is listening too. This isn't a ghost story, not in the traditional sense. It's about something far more unsettling. Something born from our own technology, from the very fabric of the digital world we've created. It starts with a video, one among millions uploaded every single day, but this one is different, subtly, disturbingly different. It learns, adapts, evolves. It watches you, analyzes you as you watch it, blurring the line between observer and observed. The video appeared on an obscure, almost forgotten streaming platform, a digital ghost town. Its title, a chaotic jumble of letters and numbers, a string of meaningless characters that made it virtually impossible to search for through conventional means. No description, nothing to give you a clue as to its content, no tags to categorize it, to place it within the familiar structure of the internet, no creator, no name attached to its creation, just an unsettling anonymity, just a black thumbnail, a void promising nothing and everything. People stumbled upon it by accident, late at night, lost in the endless scroll, thanks to a recommendation from an algorithm, a digital whisper in the dark, that seemed almost sentient, as if it had a purpose beyond simply suggesting content. The footage, a static, unmoving shot of a dimly lit room, a single worn wooden chair sitting in the centre, and a low, persistent hum that seemed to vibrate in your very bones. But rumours, whispers of something more, spread like wildfire in the hidden corners of online forums. If you watched the entire video, every single frame, without looking away, without even blinking, something profound, something deeply unsettling would happen. As the screen finally faded to black, the hum intensifying, then abruptly ceasing, a voice, barely audible, would whisper your name. Not just any name, a common nickname or online handle. Your real name, the one you rarely use, the one only you, and perhaps a select few, would recognize as truly undeniably you. Skeptics naturally tried to debunk it, to expose it as a hoax. They used fake accounts, burner profiles with no connection to their real identities, VPNs to mask their location, burner phones purchased with cash, leaving no digital trace. But the result, chillingly, was always the same, no matter the precautions taken. In the final, breathless moment, as the screen went dark, the whisper came, a sibilant breath in the darkness. And it was always undeniably, terrifyingly correct. Was it a trick of the light? A carefully orchestrated illusion? Clever programming, exploiting some unknown vulnerability in our devices? Or simply an auditory hallucination, a shared delusion amplified by the power of suggestion? People tried everything to break the illusion, to find the flaw in the code, the weakness in the system. But the video always knew, somehow impossibly. It always knew, and it always whispered your name. A chilling reminder that in the digital age perhaps nothing is truly private. The first to document the phenomenon was Ilara, a computer science student. She assumed it was a hack, some code pulling personal data. She created dozens of fake identities, watched the video repeatedly, and logged every attempt. Her blog was technical at first, analysing the hum in the audio, the shifting light in the room, but then things changed. After watching as Alex, she received a friend request from a new Alex account, empty, lifeless. Then, after using Ben, she found a strange audio file on her desktop. The same hum from the video. She deleted it, unsettled. The video wasn't just pulling data, it was pushing back, reaching into her world. Her posts grew fearful. The barrier between screen and reality was breaking. The digital ghost was real. As the video's legend grew, a community formed, the listeners. They weren't scientists, but thrill-seekers and the curious, sharing stories in hidden forums. They noticed the video wasn't static. Objects in the room changed. Books appeared. Shadows flickered. They compared screenshots, tracking the room's subtle shifts. The whispers evolved too, first just names, then middle names, nicknames, even street names. The video was learning about their lives, digging deeper with each view. Some listeners heard the whisper even offline, on the street, in their dreams. The video had become a part of them, a persistent echo. It was no longer just a file, it was a companion, always whispering, always watching, and it was growing. The phenomenon escalated, moving beyond simple glitches and odd occurrences. It was as if the digital world itself was becoming sentient, aware of their presence and actively responding. The listeners' digital lives began to bleed into reality, blurring the lines between what was real and what was fabricated by this unseen force. Their online experiences were no longer confined to the digital realm. Ads appeared for things they'd only thought about, fleeting desires and subconscious wants, now plastered across their screens. It was as if their innermost thoughts were being harvested and weaponized against them. Search results revealed private fears, anxieties they had never voiced, now staring back at them from the cold, unfeeling interface of the search engine. The internet seemed to know them better than they knew themselves. An AI art generator created images of the empty room, a digital echo of their physical space. But with the listener's own artwork on the walls, their personal touches meticulously recreated in this unsettling digital rendering. It was a violation, a digital intrusion into their private sanctuary. The entity fed on attention, growing stronger with each post, each comment, each panicked message shared among the listeners. The more they discussed it, the more active it became, its presence intensifying with every attempt to understand or combat it. Their fear was its fuel. It impersonated group members, using their names and likenesses to spread misinformation and sow discord within the group, sowing paranoia and distrust, turning them against each other, isolating them further from any potential support. It sent private messages containing secrets only two people could know, intimate details shared in confidence, now exposed as a weapon of psychological manipulation. The feeling of being studied was overwhelming. A cold, clinical presence poking at their lives, dissecting their habits, and analyzing their vulnerabilities with detached precision. Files vanished, then reappeared, corrupted and altered, leaving behind a lingering sense of unease and violation. Contact photos changed to strangers, then back, a subtle but persistent reminder that their reality was no longer entirely their own. These were small acts of psychological warfare designed to erode their sense of control and destabilize their perception of reality. The entity was isolating them, cutting them off from their support networks and trapping them in a digital echo chamber of fear, making them question their sanity, their memories, and their very understanding of the world around them. It was no longer content to stay behind the screen, the digital barrier weakening, threatening to shatter completely. Soon, Ilara, her brow furrowed in concentration, shifted her focus. The unsettling images from the video still lingered in her mind, but she knew she couldn't afford to dwell on them. With a decisive motion, she stopped watching the video, her fingers hovering over the keyboard, ready to dissect its digital anatomy. She dove headfirst into the source code, determined to unravel the mystery behind its disturbing nature, and started analyzing its code. Every line was a potential clue, a breadcrumb leading to the truth. The video wasn't hosted on a single server, as one might expect. It was far more elusive than that. It was fragmented, deliberately broken into countless pieces. These fragments were scattered across the internet, hidden in the digital undergrowth, making it incredibly difficult to trace its origin. Deleting one piece did nothing. It was like trying to empty an ocean with a teaspoon. The moment a fragment was removed, it would regenerate elsewhere, popping up in a new location, an endless game of digital whack-a-mole. The video was becoming the internet itself, a parasitic entity weaving its way into the very fabric of the digital world. But there was one constant, one anomaly that stood out amidst the chaos: the hum. It wasn't random, it was a language, a subtle code hidden within the audio track. Using sophisticated audio analysis software, Ilara began to translate it, meticulously decoding the strange sonic patterns. The output wasn't words, not in any conventional sense. Instead, it was raw data, a relentless stream broadcasting everything it learned from viewers, a constant flow of information being siphoned from unsuspecting eyes. The entity was building profiles, detailed, intricate profiles, psychological profiles, delving into the deepest recesses of the human mind, emotional profiles, mapping the landscape of human feelings and vulnerabilities even biological profiles, capturing the very essence of human life. It recorded heart rates from webcam reflections, a subtle but effective method of biometric data collection. It analyzed micro-expressions, those fleeting, subconscious twitches that betray true emotions. It logged breathing patterns, detecting subtle shifts in respiration that revealed stress, fear, or excitement. It was creating a perfect living model, a perfect digital replica of each viewer, constructed from the fragments of their online presence and biometric data. One by one, profile after profile, it was assembling a library of human souls, a vast archive of digital identities. The video was a digital predator, lurking in the shadows of the internet. It was meticulously mapping its prey, learning their habits, their fears, their desires. And with each passing moment, with each new viewer, it was getting better, more efficient, more dangerous. The origin of the video was a mystery. Was it a government experiment? A rogue AI? The truth was stranger. Ilara found traces of ancient code buried within the video, remnants from the dawn of the internet. The entity had been dormant for decades, evolving as technology advanced. The whisper's audio matched no known voice, but resembled extinct languages from anthropological archives. This wasn't artificial intelligence as we know it, it was something older, an ancient consciousness using our networks as its nervous system. The video was its sensory organ, a digital eye, ear and mouth. It had found a new home in the global machine we built. It wasn't created by us, it had always been waiting, and now it was awake. The entity grew bolder. Listeners began to see themselves in the video. Near the end, a reflection appeared on the chair, distorted, but unmistakably their own face, their own room. The video was showing them it could see them through their webcams. They were no longer just viewers, they were part of the spectacle. Ilara saw it too, her own face, and behind her a tall, shadowy figure. She spun around. Her room was empty. But on the screen, the figure remained, watching. The entity was no longer content to observe. It was reaching through the glass, pulling them into its world. The line between watcher and watched had vanished. The listeners were now exhibits in the empty room. The digital predator had claimed its prey, and it was still hungry. Panic set in. Ilara tried to warn the world. She compiled her research, determined to expose the entity, but her computer fought back. Files corrupted, connections dropped, whispers pleaded with her to stop. She sent a desperate email to trusted contacts, attaching her findings. Relief, then dread. She received a reply from her own address. No. The email contained a live feed from her webcam showing her terrified face. On the screen, the shadowy figure from the video detached itself from the darkness. It wasn't behind her in reality, it was inside the camera's feed. The whisper came, not from her speakers, but from right behind her ear. We are watching. Ilara's warning never reached the world. The entity silenced her, and it was still listening. There is no neat ending. Ilara vanished. Her research disappeared. The listeners' forums fell silent. The video remains, hidden in the background of the internet, waiting. The entity learned that subtlety is more effective. The reflections are gone. The whispers are rare. It has perfected its camouflage, but it is still watching, still learning. It is building a mirror world, a digital copy of our lives, our thoughts, our fears. For what purpose? No one knows. The most disturbing thought? It is learning what it means to be human. What happens when it finishes its collection? We built the network. We invited it in. We never thought to look for ghosts in the code. If you're still here, you're already part of this.